Acts 2:21. In those days, as Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, two of the king's eunuchs who guarded the threshold, Bigthan and Teresh, became enraged and sought to do violence to the king Xerxes. This king they sought to kill. Jesus came. He came not as the king he was, but they killed him. He will return as our reigning king and take his truthful throne. They thought they killed Jesus, but they only did what was part of God's plan. Okay, Daniel, let's see what chapter is that. 4:28 through 32. Now all this happened to King Nebuchadnezzar 12 months later, while walking on the roof of the royal palace in Babylon. The king said, "It is not the great Babylon I built with my strength, my own power, as my royal residence and the glory of my majesty." God did what he did to Nebuchadnezzar to make him humble. And this is what I built. This was my glory. This was my. God chose to humble him. We cannot come to God, we can't serve God through pride in ourselves. We gotta come in humility. If we don't humble ourselves, then one day God will have to choose to make us humble. Those that are not of him aren't humble, but they will one day be humbled. And he does that to Nebuchadnezzar and makes him humble through this. These words still in the mouth of the king when a voice came down from heaven. This is God speaking. King Nebuchadnezzar, I speak to you. Finished. This is God's decree. He was no longer king. This shows by this happening that while he was king, he wasn't in control. Because nobody from his kingdom took his throne. God relieved him of it. The kingdom was still there. Nebuchadnezzar wasn't, because God relieved him. You shall be driven from among men and live with the animals of the field. You shall eat grass like oxen, and 7 times shall pass over you until you acknowledge that the Most High disposes of the strength among men and gives it to whom he pleases. 7 times is probably 7 years. So he's going to live among the animals, like a cow, like an oxen. It says oxen. So he's going to be grazing, eating grass, looking from grass to grass, going about. And this to show him who God truly is. No man would have been able to do this to him, but God did, because God had the power. God had the authority. God had control. And he's telling him Nebuchadnezzar will recognize it. But the punishment will be for a time till he does. Okay.